We are here. We are live. Hey, everyone. Happy Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. Wednesday. All right, please come on in and have a seat. I don't know how long we will be here today. I don't know. But since I saw this, came across this, I figured I might as well share it with you all. So, let's say hello to people who are here. All right. So, Sweet Ace's Silhouette, she was here first. Hey, girl. Sleepy Bee. Hey, girl. Empress. Hey, girl. How you doing? How is my internet niece, KK? I hope y'all are good. Hey, Eight. Natasha. Hey, girl. How you doing? Miss Anonymous. Yeah. So, listen, I need for everyone to come on in, and I need for everyone to like the video. And like I said, we're going to examine something today. And I never really thought about this particular situation this way, but why not? Why not? Hey, Miss Tree Moon. Starry-eyed. Hey, girl. Where you been? Where you been at, girl? Girl, you better text me. All right. So we all know that this past weekend, there was a quote unquote second assassination attempt on the current president of the United States, a one Donald Trump, who is currently in the second presidential term. Okay. Yeah, it was the White House Correspondents' Dinner or whatnot. Strange happenings were afoot. Big conversation, right? But listen. Hey, growing process. I'm sorry, girl. Okay, y'all talking about fourth attempt, talking about his third. Yeah. Third attempt, fourth attempt. I'm going with the 2024 Butler Assassination Attempt as number one, and the recent one at the White House Correspondents' Dinner number two, and that whole situation has some interesting connections as well. But so something happened this past weekend. But before that happened, I remember the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I had been seeing conversations come up online and in various online spaces. I'm on Twitter because I need to be on Twitter to get the tea. I'm all up in white people business on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Threads, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. But this is some particular information that I came across on Twitter, and listen. For the past 2 weeks in these online spaces that I've been in, especially Twitter, people were talking about a lot of the MAGA and conservative fan base. Okay, were they were wondering, was the 2024 Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt, was it staged? Was it a hoax? Was it faked? And not the propaganda assassination. Listen. We're gonna get into it. And I came across some information yesterday that had me clutching my pearls, but also had me really thinking it's possible, right? And if you remember, it was either yesterday or the day before, and if you remember back in 2024 when the event actually happened, I pulled up the astrology chart, right? And for anyone that may be confused or maybe have not seen that before, let me go ahead and pull up the charts so that everyone can see, because I need for us to have just a little bit of a baseline, just a little bit of a little bit of a baseline before we get into this conversation. So let me just bring the chart back in, because I did talk about it the other day, and I did talk about it in 2024, that astrologically, um oh, now you're talking about you can't. Now you're talking about you can't share my screen. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, whenever the chart is able to come back up, because StreamYard is currently hating right now. StreamYard is hating. But yeah, astrologically, he was in danger. Astrologically, the danger was there, right? Window. Okay, let's try it this time. See if it's gonna come through. Okay, so StreamYard doesn't want to share. But remember, I talked about there was on the day of the 2024 Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt. Remember I told you that, there was a Uranus, transiting Uranus was sitting right on top of his midheaven, right? And transiting Mars was square, transiting Uranus, transiting Mars was in his first house, right? When you have, not all the time, but sometimes when Mars is transiting your first house or your sixth house, even sometimes your eighth house, there is a potential for accidents or physical harm to come to you personally. Okay. So we talked about that. I also showed you all the other day the astrocartography of Donald Trump's natal planets per his chart. So we looked at that. We saw that his natal Mars line, right, goes right over near Butler, Pennsylvania, right? We talked about that. So astrologically, he was in danger. But I heard that, and I really, 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 when we have our discussion at the end, I really want to hear from you all. But I heard that, um, the 2024 Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt, I heard that was a ritual out in plain sight. Yes, I heard that it was a ritual being done right in our face. And I said to myself, I said, self, and I said, self, and I said, Q, um, what these people talking about? What are these people talking about that this was a ritual? So I had to, I had to go look into it. I had to look into it, and I had to find the people in videos that were being presented so I can look at it myself. And you know what? My personal opinion is that I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to have to agree that that was a ritual. Now, Natasha says, I feel Trump's whole presidency is a humiliation ritual for the United States. Now, listen. That is quite possible. But what I heard yesterday is that the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, 2024 was a ritual for the J people. I'm going to say it again. I heard that was a ritual for the J people. And let me just say this. I say this meaning that I say this, and let me just put my disclaimer out there. There are good people and bad people in every group, race, religion, culture. They exist. They exist. Right? Country, good and bad people. I am not talking about all of the J people. I am talking about the ZIO. Um, the ZIO foolishness that has been occurring, right? All right. So, hey girl, sweet ace of silhouette. Yeah, she said interesting. Yeah, I was too. I said the same thing. I said, what? I say it was a ritual. And not only that, it was a ritual, from what I heard, it was a ritual of him offering himself as a servant to these people, to the ZIOs, to the ZIOs. That it was a ritual. And I said, "Oh my goodness." So that's what we gonna look at. And hopefully we won't be here too long. But that's what we about to look. We about to look. All right. Let me start by sharing. Listen, I had to go down a mini rabbit hole yesterday. I was like, "Oh, I got to share the tea." Yeah, so let me just share screen. Come on, StreamYard. I just need to share the screen. Okay, and not in people don't want me to. Okay, let me exit out of StreamYard and I'm going to come back. All right, let me exit out and then I'm going to come back. So I'm going to be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back, y'all. Let me try it now. So yeah. Uh-huh. All right. All right. I'm is back and we gonna look. We're gonna look. Okay, let me make myself smaller. All right, so this is a post, and let me make this bigger because we all need to see. Okay, so this is last edited March 14, 2026. Okay, this is a guy on Twitter called the Patriot Voice. Okay, and I'm following him because I got to be nosy. Okay, I got to be nosy. So I follow people. So whenever I see interesting posts, I can just bookmark them and go back and review. But the Patriot Voice, TPV John said, this may be the most important video you ever watched. Remember back during the 2024 presidential campaign, Trump would often say that this was the final battle, but this is because he was being literal. We have to come to terms with the truth. Trump is a willing bond servant of Shabbat Lubavitch. Okay. Okay. All right. Trump is now forever marked by his masters. But go back to here. His quote assassination attempt unquote in Butler was a staged public ritual piercing his ear, which was required to prove his allegiance. Okay. Trump's engagement with Iran is the final battle, which will lead to the biblical battle of Armageddon and the building of the third temple, and ultimately the arrival of the Jewish Moshiach. Sorry, I don't speak Hebrew, aka the man of lawlessness or the Christian Antichrist beast of revolution. Okay. Trump will absolutely see this through, doing whatever he has to do to make it happen. This could explain why he seems so much more chaotic and erratic this term. No, not blackmail. You see, the man said willing bond servant, not blackmail, a willing servant. Okay, willing bond servant. Okay. He goes on to say, it does not matter if you don't believe it. They do. It does not matter about your trust the plan propaganda nonsense. They laugh at you. This is not simply my speculation, but it is on the record from many Shabbat rabbis. And I said to myself, I said, self. Okay, I said self. What this mean? So I had to go look it up. So come on and look it up with me. And let me make sure, let me get, because I gotta get I gotta make sure I have the correct information. Let me grab my little notebook because I was writing stuff down yesterday. I was writing stuff down yesterday. Okay. I was writing stuff down. Got my little notebook. Okay. So willing bond servant. I said, okay. So where does this come from? Let's look at this. Let's look at this. I'm about to bring another screen in. All right. Let's share this tab instead. Okay. So the bond servant ritual. So I was listening and I was just like, oh, okay, well, let's see. So they were referencing, let me make this bigger for everyone. They were referencing Exodus 21:6. So Exodus chapter 21, verse 6. Okay. So, because remember, the Old Testament of the Holy Bible is the Jewish Torah. Okay, remember. So a lot of Christianity, is based on, you cannot deny the religious Jewish basis of it, right? The Old Testament is that. So let's look and see. King James Version. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Hey, Kevin. So if you think about this, right, because a lot of the Bible is, there's Jewish, there's some Aramaic, and then, you had a lot of these translations, Greek and Latin, all like that. But at the very base, the Old Testament is the Torah. Okay. So I said, that's real interesting. So then his master shall bring him unto the judges, Okay, so judges are people who will be there, who will view, who would oversee. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the doorpost. Okay, you need a platform, you need a threshold, you need somewhere for this to be done. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl. An awl is it's a device, it's a tool that's used to punch holes into leather. So it's a tool for like leather working and stuff like that. That's what an awl is, AUL. And he shall serve him forever. So I said, that's real interesting. Now, if we go back here, if we go back to this page here, this gentleman, the Patriot Voice, and I'm crediting because this is the Patriot Voice, the Twitter space that I was listening to yesterday referenced this person's post and video. So I'm just going straight to this person's post and video. This is not my original work. I heard it yesterday. I'm sharing it with y'all. So the Patriot Voice says, this is not simply my speculation, but it is on the record from many Shabbat rabbis. So I said, let me go on and Google and see what, let me get on GoGo and see what I can find. So let's go here. Let's go here. Okay, so we are looking at, this is a quick little video, but the person in the video is Shabbat Rabbi Iser Zalman Weisberg. Okay. And this person's post under their IG post says, is Shabbat Rabbi Iser Zalman Weisberg basically admitting that Trump is functioning as a Trojan horse to usher in a new world order where every nation ultimately bows and ends to worship Israel? Okay, so let's roll this beautiful footage. Okay, so let me play it and then we're going to start at the beginning. And hopefully everyone can hear.
Needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027, 1,167 days from today. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind.
Okay. So remember when I said that a lot of what's happening right now is spiritual, religious, esoteric, as well as geopolitical? When we talk about there being foreign influence in the government of the United States, this is what a lot of people are talking about. This is about New World Order, rebuilding the temple, all this. This is why you see so many Christian evangelicals they're behind it. Not all, but there are many. Well, let's finish listening.
In Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. He will no doubt do a lot of good things to strengthen our economy, protect our borders, and allow religious freedom to flourish.
How's that economy looking? Anyway, let's continue.
But America will never become a great country on its own, because Esav's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. No human being, even Donald Trump, can reverse this. No. The greatness of America does not lie in its own success. America will be great when the Messiah comes. And the leader of this country, on behalf of all the good people in this country, will humbly present himself to the Jewish Messiah and ask him to accept the United States of America into a new alliance of countries who accept the leadership of the Messiah.
So this is okay. So I said to myself, I said, self. I said to myself, I said, self. Is there? Yeah. So I'm just like, okay. So, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, let's just look around. So let's look around. So I went on YouTube and I found the man's YouTube page. Okay. But yeah, I found the man's YouTube page. So we can go down through here. Trump has no clue why he was chosen, but I think there is a better video here, and we're gonna watch this video. Let's go back to this tab here. We are still on the Patriot Voices. Twitter page. And this video here is 15 minutes. We're gonna take a listen. We're gonna take a listen.
War in Iraq.
All right, everybody with me? And make sure everybody with me because I can't see the chat. Everybody with me? Okay. Kevin said, oh wow, that explains a lot. Kevin also says this makes quite a bit of sense. Very interesting. So essentially, Trump is ritualistically owned. Yes, giving himself up. Because the bond servant ritual is the servant, the person who wants to be a servant has to give themselves up. It's not coerced. It's not the person, according to the ritual, gives themselves. They choose for themselves to be the bond servant, to be bonded. Okay. Ritualistically bonded to be a servant for these people. Kevin also says it would also make sense if them people know the astrology to make all these ritualistic things happen during this presidency. Absolutely. And this is what I keep telling you all. Astrology is an open tool for everyone. Okay. A lot of astrology came out of the Middle East, came out of like a lot of the foundational astrology. It came out of the Middle East. It came out of Persia, which is Iran. And you know, that whole quote unquote that land that they all been fighting over there in the Middle East. A lot of astrology, like old school, like a lot of astrology, and so it came out of there and then, you know, went west, and you know, so so understand that astrology is a tool. Everyone has access to astrology. You can go right now to astro.com and type in some information and you can create a chart yourself and look at charts and stuff like that. You don't need to buy software for it. Okay, there are free apps that you can download on your phone or your iPad or on your computer that you can, you know, create charts with. So I'm not the only one who's looking at things and astrologically looking at things, right? I'm not the only one. So this is what I say, like when these people, they out here playing in y'all face. But yeah, so it's absolutely possible that ritualistically this date was chosen, right? This date was chosen. Yeah. So hey, sexy RN. Yeah. So let's go on and listen to this. We're gonna listen together.
Iran has many people The war in Iran has many people wondering, do they own Trump? The answer to this question is yes.
Ooh-wee. He came straight out the gate with it. The war in Iran has a lot of people wondering if they got him. If they got him. Let me play that again.
Trump is literally powerful. The war in Iran has many people wondering, do they own Trump? The answer to this question is yes. Trump is literally owned by them and bears the mark of his master on his ear.
What? Bears the mark of what? Him master on his ear. Let's go.
Prove it.
Said, take a look at what happened.
Now, you might think I'm crazy or anti-Semitic for saying this, but given everything that is happening in the world, I think there are less crazier ideas. And if you give me just a few minutes of your time, I think this will make sense to you.
Now, everyone can hear, correct? Everyone can hear, right? Okay.
Before I continue, you need to know that it doesn't matter if you believe in religion or mysticism or eschatology, because other people do, and they have power.
Check your mans. Check your mans. After he been out here lying to people. That's why I said, now listen, let me just say this. Let me just say this. I don't know how anyone is taking up for, protecting, uplifting how many times felon? A convicted felon at least 10 times over. Okay. Convicted. And with all the scummy things that he has done. This isn't about whether you like him or not. If we are supposed to be decent people, okay, because we all know if this was some regular person on the street, everybody be looking and giving them the side eye and stay away from this person because they are a criminal. Okay. So that's one thing, right? I'm just stating the facts. But yeah, check. He been lying to people and selling these Bibles and everything like that. But baby, he a whole bond servant. Allegedly. So check the hat. Check the hat. And I mean, listen, I guess when in Rome, you do what Romans do. But yeah, but let's keep going.
Power, and they are using this power to act on their beliefs, regardless of whether or not you share them. Everyone knows that the Jews believe in the coming of their Messiah. But what many people don't know is that the Jews believe the Messiah is alive in every generation as his soul transmigrates upon death from one body to another. Therefore, the Jews aren't waiting for the Messiah to come because the Messiah is already here. They are waiting for the Messiah to reveal himself, and he can only do that in a messianic age. So in order for the Messiah to come, the world must be in a messianic age. So think of the Messiah as a flower and the messianic age as a pot. The two go hand in hand. Now, a long-standing debate in Judaism is whether or not Jews should passively wait for the Messiah and the messianic age or actively attempt to trigger it. Should Jews be patient and righteous and focus on obeying God's laws as they wait for redemption and salvation from exile? Or should they act upon the world and trigger the messianic age, acting as tools for God's will and thereby redeeming themselves? Well, there have been all sorts of movements in Jewish history from those actively attempting to trigger the Messianic age. The most infamous cases are Sabbatai Zevi and Jacob Frank, both of whom were inspired by Lurianic Kabbalah, claimed to be the Messiah themselves, and encouraged their followers to act in ways that triggered the Messianic age. Remember this because it will be important later on. Now, you might remember that Trump launched this war with Iran on behalf of Israel on the eve of Purim, the Jewish holiday commemorating the Jewish victory in Persia.
Now, if you remember, back in late February, after the United States struck Iran, okay, late February 2026, when the United States struck Iran, there was no provocation, there was not any of that. Remember, I told you all that it was astrologically relevant, all the things that were happening. And remember, I told you it was on the eve of Purim. Remember, I told you all that. Remember, I told you all that day I had that live stream. I told you all that this is esoteric rituals as well. Because Purim, okay, Purim is the celebration of when what? When Israel defeated their enemies, Iran. So let me rewind it once again so you all can hear. I told you all this.
At the time, Persia was Levi and Jacob Frank, both of whom were inspired by Lurianic Kabbalah, claimed to be the Messiah themselves, and encouraged their followers to act in ways that triggered the Messianic age. Remember this because it will be important later on. Now, you might remember that Trump launched this war with Iran on behalf of Israel on the eve of Purim, the Jewish holiday commemorating the Jewish victory in Persia. At the time, Persia was led by King Xerxes. Xerxes ruled over a massive empire that stretched from India to Ethiopia. He had many advisors. One of them was a Jewish man named Mordecai, but his top advisor was a Persian named Haman. Haman and Mordecai had a rivalry. After a series of insults, Haman attempted to convince King Xerxes to not only kill Mordecai, but to eliminate the Jewish presence in Persia. But after his wife, Queen Esther, revealed herself to be Jewish and a series of other events, King Xerxes decided instead to execute Haman. While Jews didn't conquer Persia in battle, they survived exile and execution. The king had a Jewish wife, and Mordecai remained his advisor.
We, the Jewish people, are commanded to destroy the enemies of our people in all times, in all places, as happened, as described in detail in Megillat Esther, in the book of Esther, where we...
Yes, Persia is Iran. They are Persians. They are not Arabs people. Okay, their ethnicity, they are Persians. Persians are not Iranians. Iranians are Arabic people. Persians are they're Persians. The Iranian people are Persians. They are different. Okay, so let me just okay. All right, we all understand? Okay. Yes. So when we talk about like Prince of Persia, the video game, or like, going back to the movie with Gerard Butler, 300, how the Greeks defeated Xerxes. Okay, Xerxes, Iran, Persians. Okay, Persians. Okay. But just remember.
Find that 75,811 of our enemies were destroyed, including women and children. Why did this take place? Why were so many people killed? Why were women and children killed? But the answer is very simple, straightforward. Perhaps it is not politically correct in the eyes of some, but it is the true, authentic, and absolutely essential message of Purim, and it is the central truth of it is rather commemorating and remembering a past event in order that we know how to behave today in the present and in the future. Amalek still exists. We read every year before Purim, we read Parashat Zachor, where we are commanded by Hashem to remember that which Amalek did to us and to destroy them.
So the Jews celebrate this day as a sort of victory over Persian civilization. For this reason, many found the connection between Trump's Iran war and Purim to be much more than a mere coincidence. In fact, a CNN article made this connection as well, confirming its significance.
Remember, I told y'all. I don't know if CNN beat me, but I definitely told y'all.
But the connection to the Iran war is actually much deeper and darker than just Purim. You see, King Xerxes was the grandson of the greatest Persian leader to ever live, Cyrus the Great. Cyrus is best known for conquering Babylonia and birthing a new Persian civilization known as the Achaemenid Empire.
Okay, and remember, Persia is Iran. Babylon, that's Iraq. So when they're talking about like the wall gardens of Babylon and stuff like that, Babylon is Iraq, Persia is Iran.
That would stretch from the Balkans to India to Ethiopia. But Cyrus means just as much to the Jews as he does to the Persian people. During the time of Cyrus, the Jews were exiled in Babylonia. The Jews ended up in Babylonia because they were a client state of the Babylonian Empire. After a series of rebellions, however, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem and destroyed Solomon's temple, otherwise known as the First Temple. And in accordance with...
Okay, so that was Iraq. Okay, Babylon is Iraq. King Nebuchadnezzar, put belt to ass. Okay, so I want you all to understand this as why there is this beef, quote unquote, in the Middle East with quote unquote Middle Eastern Arabic slash Persia always having this beef, quote unquote, with Israel. This is, at least religiously, this is a old ancient beef that's going on. Okay, old ancient beef.
With Babylonian custom, Nebuchadnezzar deported the Jews to Babylon in order to prevent another uprising. In Babylon, the Jews, like other exiled peoples, were allowed to practice their faith, but were not allowed to return to their lands. But the Jews had hope that they would one day be liberated. God revealed to the prophet Isaiah the coming of Cyrus some 80 years before he was born, specifying his name and how God would use him. The prophet disclosed in chapter 45 what the Lord would do for Cyrus, his anointed Messiah. He would make him a subduer of nations, give him riches, and bestow upon him a title of honor, even though Cyrus would not acknowledge him. In addition, God would use him to conquer Babylon, where the Jews were being held in captivity. The Lord's chosen ally will carry out his purpose against Babylon. His arm will be against the Babylonians. I, even I, have spoken. Yes, I have called him. I will bring him, and he will succeed in his mission. Cyrus conquered the mighty Neo-Babylonian Empire in 539 BC. God further revealed to Isaiah that Cyrus would release the Jewish captives and rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. I will raise up Cyrus in my righteousness. I will make all his ways straight. He will rebuild my city and set my exiles free. I am the Lord, who says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd and will accomplish all that I please. He will say of Jerusalem, let it be rebuilt, and of the temple, let its foundations be laid. Well, that's exactly what Cyrus would end up doing. He subdued nations, including Babylon, obtained riches, earned the title Cyrus the Great, and crucially allowed the Jews to return to their land in Jerusalem and build the second temple, all without acknowledging or converting to Judaism himself. Therefore, Cyrus was a non-Jewish Messiah in Jewish history. So the Iran War isn't just about Jews surviving a plot to destroy them in Persia. It's about a great non-Jewish king defeating their enemies and allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. As believers in prophecy, mysticism, and the significance of numerology and dates on the calendar, the Jews today believe they are repeating history through their servant, Donald Trump. You see, in the Epstein files, there was a confidential human source that told investigators that Trump was owned.
Epstein files, eh? I gotta go find this. I have to go find this. I'm a matter of fact, let me go to the Epstein files right now. Because I still got it up on my computer. Let me see if I can find this. We're gonna let this play, but I'm just doing my I'm about to be nosy here in the background. Let's see if I can find this myself.
Owned and controlled by the Jewish movement.
Let's look at this. It says CHS advised Shabbat is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Shabbat is basically state-sanctioned Judaism. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on all the Russo-Jewish oligarchs. On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared we're at the gravesite of Rabbi Shearsum. I'm about to show y'all too. Who was the most powerful rabbi in the Shabbat network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in Cadre because of its ties to the Russian state. CHS believed this is the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. The FBI should investigate Kushner's family's charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Shabbat routinely uses charities to launder money. But I just read the little highlighted part for y'all.
Movement, Chabad Lubavitch. Chabad is the spiritual evolution of Lurianic Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism that inspired Sabbatai Zevi and Jacob Frank to declare themselves messiahs and take action to trigger the Messianic age. The most influential Jewish figure of the last century, Rabbi Schneerson, was the leader of the Chabad movement who infamously told Benjamin Netanyahu that he wasn't doing enough to bring about the Messiah. In fact, a core tenet of Chabad is the preparation of the world world for the Messianic age. And in Judaism, there's actually a concept of two Messianic figures, not just one. The two figures are usually called Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David. Messiah ben Joseph is considered to be the forerunner. He is described as a preparatory or suffering Messiah. He comes first before the final redemption. He leads Israel in wars against Israel's enemies. His role is essentially to prepare the way for the final Messianic era. Messiah ben David is the main Messiah expected in Jewish theology. He descends from King David, restores the Davidic monarchy, rebuilds or establishes the temple in Jerusalem, and rules during the Messianic age. This is the Messiah most Jews refer to when they simply say the Messiah. Chabad has long believed that Donald Trump is the forerunner to the Messiah ben David. So Chabad has long invested in Donald Trump. Their followers have overwhelmingly voted for him. Their billionaire followers funded his political rise with hundreds of millions of dollars. And their devout follower, Jared Kushner, who Dershowitz claimed was also a Mossad agent in the Epstein files, according to the same confidential human source, married into Trump's family and is considered to be the one actually running the White House. And several figures around Donald Trump, like billionaire Howard Lutnick, is also considered to be a devout Chabad follower. So Chabad has worked to mold Trump over the years into the servant that he is now. But before Trump could carry out his task as the forerunner, Chabad needed him to publicly declare his servitude for them and their cause. This is because of old Judaic laws defining the relationship between a Hebrew master and his servant. Pursuant to a Judaic ritual.
Okay, so when we are doing rituals, spell work, all that good stuff, especially if it's something that, you are part of it, you really need to fully agree with it. Okay. Marriage is a spiritual ritual. Okay. Both people present themselves, right, in front of a crowd, the witnesses, and the ritual is performed. Okay. When you graduate from high school and college, right, you wear your robes, you put on your ritual garments and your cap and gown. You turn your tassel from one direction to the next direction. Okay. That is a ritual. Celebrating your birthday every year, it's a ritual. Okay. There are a lot of things that are ritual. Going to prom, a ritual. Okay. A lot of things are ritual. So I don't want you all to just think about rituals as in, oh, with some magic, some stuff, like that. A lot of things are rituals. Okay. A lot of things are rituals. But rituals are usually performed by people who want to do them. Okay. By people who want to do them. So keep that in mind.
Mentioned in the Old Testament in Exodus 21:6, quote, "Then his master must take him before the judges. He shall take him to the door or the doorstep and pierce his ear with an awl. Then he will be his servant for life." In this event, the awl was used in a public legal ceremony to formalize the lifelong bond. The master brought the servant before the...
Okay, a public ceremony. Okay, public ceremony. July 13th, 2024, Butler, Pennsylvania. Public ceremony.
Judges to ensure the decision was voluntary and not coerced. By piercing the servant's ear through the doorstep of the master's house with an awl in a mark of permanence, the servant became a bond servant or slave permanently. The pierced ear symbolized a commitment to always listen and obey the master's voice, and the doorpost signified that they were now a permanent part of that specific home. So for Trump to continue his loyal service to the Chabad movement, which helped bring him to power, he would have to publicly declare his slavery to his Jewish masters by taking a piercing publicly to his ear. Now, it would be a little too obvious and frankly weird as hell for you to witness a rabbi publicly poking a hole in Trump's ear. So how could this public display of loyalty be achieved for all the world to see without raising any unusual suspicion? Well, on July 13th, 2024, while speaking at a public rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump was supposedly shot in the ear by a would-be assassin.
Now notice, he went and touched his ear. I don't know if he felt it or it grazed, or if it was I don't know if the setup was okay when the shots ring out, you just touch your ear or whatever, because I would think that if you are hearing gunshots, you wouldn't be going straight for your ear. You probably would duck or like check your chest to make sure the vital organs, you know what I'm saying? You'd be not necessarily for the ear.
A photographer captured this moment of Trump rising defiantly before all the world with a bloodied ear. This assassination attempt, however, was actually Trump's global initiation as Shabbat's loyal bondservant, the Messiah ben Joseph, otherwise known as the Forerunner. Trump, like Cyrus the Great before him, would be the non-Jewish Messiah, obtaining riches, subduing nations, and pursuing titles of greatness, who will conquer the enemies of the Jews so that they can destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque and rebuild the temple. And if you remember, in Trump's first term, he broke with tradition and moved the US embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing it as the capital of Israel. He assassinated Qasem Soleimani during his first term, and he was the one who greenlit the Pentagon's active planning phase for this war we are currently watching years before it officially kicked off. Now, if you think I'm crazy, maybe you'll believe the Shabbat rabbi, Iser Weisberg.
The current non-Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. But America will never become a great country on its own, because Esav's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. No human being, even Donald Trump, can reverse this. No, the greatness of America does not lie in its own success. America will be great when the Messiah comes, and the leader of this country, on behalf of all the good people in this country, will humbly present himself to the Jewish Messiah and ask him to accept the United States of America into a new alliance of countries who accept the leadership of the Messiah. A new United Nations will replace the current cesspool that goes by that fraudulent name. A real United Nations, united to serve God, led by the Messiah and based in Jerusalem. And my feeling is that the United States under President Trump will be the first nation to join.
It doesn't matter if you believe this. What matters is that he believes this, and so do many other Jews in the Shabbat movement, which is pro-Israel, Zionist, it's genocidal, and according to this confidential human source in the Epstein files, it controls the White House. So this war you are witnessing in Iran is not merely the production of AIPAC lobbying or Netanyahu or Epstein blackmail. This is not something Trump has been coerced into doing. It is something that he willingly signed up for because, as we all know, Trump is interested in pursuing greatness and legacy. This relationship with his Jewish masters has given him the ability to achieve this. By willingly becoming their servant, they have anointed him as the Messiah forerunner, giving rise to the final world order where the Messiah ben David will rule the world from Jerusalem. Without the Shabbat Jews, Trump would not be president. He would not have made it thus far. If he succeeds in Iran on behalf of Israel, he will be remembered as the second greatest figure in Jewish history, the forerunner who made the Messianic age possible. And this doesn't just please the Jews, it also pleases the Christian Zionists who are interested in an apocalyptic final battle that will bring about Jesus Christ. So when we tell you that this is more than just another bombing of the Middle East, we mean it. The Iran war is literally a battle of biblical proportions. It has geopolitical, religious, and eschatological implications. That's why Muslim scholars all over the region are saying this is a major battle between Islam and its enemies. This is a war meant to trigger the Messianic age and establish Pax Judaica, the new Jewish empire. But what do you think? Let me know down below. I pay special attention to comments.
All right. So this video just Yeah, when I heard it yesterday, I was just like, I know you lying. But like the gentleman in the video says, um, it's not about whether we believe it or not. These people absolutely believe this, right? It is their faith. This is what they believe. And apparently they got themselves a bondservant. Apparently they got themselves a bondservant. Okay. Kevin says, this explains this slavish devotion from these evangelicals who believe they're underneath the Jays. They want this just like them. Maybe not as much, but the devotion says a lot. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't even about narcissism. This is, I mean, I just wonder if he understands allegedly what he has done. It may be power for him, but yeah, this is what these people, this is what they believe. Kevin says very, very interesting. Starry-eyed says, wow. Wow. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So, I mean, yeah. Um, they yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so this was laying it out that this was probably a bondservant ritual. A bondservant ritual. Um, yeah. Yeah, so I found this very, very, very interesting. I found this very, very interesting. And my personal opinion is that's yeah. And in my personal opinion, that's exactly what this was. And this was, and I say this to say that, there are a lot of things going on right now because there are always a lot of things going on. But sometimes when we do a little bit of investigation, we see that there are esoteric and spiritual undertakings to a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on. My personal opinion, I fully believe that this is what happened. I fully believe that this is what happened. Fully believe that this is what happened. I'm also doing my best to try and find some documents, some documents that can kind of back this up. Some actual documents, but yeah, the fact that it was the right ear, okay, which is the right ear per the ritual, nothing really wrong with that ear. And then on top of that, you all saw the thumbnail, right? You all know that going back to whether or not this was staged, planned, faked, you all know that that picture is a copy of raising the flag at Iwo Jima, right? You all know that that picture of him with the fist up with the flag behind him, you all know that there was a copy of the award-winning World War II flag over Iwo Jima picture. Because that's what that was. once I found that out is when I fully knew, fully knew that, okay, yeah, this was some trash. Okay, so raising the flag on Iwo Jima, World War II. And let me do assassination attempt, Pennsylvania. Okay, now I'm gonna show y'all. Okay, and this is part of psychological warfare. Okay, because all countries have their own propaganda, their psychological warfare. You know, all countries do it, but this is when I knew for sure that this was that. So let's first go to the raising the flag on Iwo Jima. Okay. Iconic photograph. Okay, iconic photograph of 6 United States Marines raising the U.S. flag atop Mount Suribachi during the Battle of Iwo Jima in the final stages of the Pacific War. Okay, so we've if you haven't seen this picture, I mean, I've seen it. So this is the picture. This is the picture. Now let's see how similar. Let's see how similar this looks. I'm not even laughing, but you know, I keep telling y'all, you know, they love playing in your face. Y'all see this right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's at least 5 or 6 of them. Okay. Yeah, with the flag. With the flag overhead. And then Time magazine. Yeah. That. Yeah, let's go look. Okay. No, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see anything. I just want to go back to the. But yeah, that's what that is. That's what that is. I don't want no damn video. But yeah, that's what that is. Okay. It looks very similar to you see the hand up reaching for it. So I was just like, oh, okay. They like to play in our face. They love playing they love playing in our faces doing things. So yeah. What's interesting is this picture was taken February 23rd, 1945. That's the same time period around when Trump was born. It wasn't too far out. Trump was born in 1946. So a year later, less than a year later when Trump was born. So there's a lot of things energetically going on with this picture as when Trump was born. One of those being Uranus in Gemini. So I want you all to understand and start putting all of this stuff together. Donald Trump was born with Uranus in Gemini. He has Uranus in Gemini. Okay, 17 degrees of Gemini in his 11th house. 11th house of networks, co-workers, associations, clubs, stuff like that. So I want you all to just understand all the things energetically linked and going on. Yeah, Kevin says, I believe it too, because how did he heal up so fast from the shot? And why wasn't the damage to the ear more serious, especially for an unaliving attempt? Yeah, absolutely. Growing Process says, I thought the same thing when it happened, and only one coworker understood me. Mm-hmm. Kevin says, in that case, this isn't Project 2025 that was planned out by the Heritage Foundation. This is something much more serious. And it's something much more serious. Much more serious. But I would say that what I would say is you have to understand that, and let me show you something. And this is why I want you all to understand things being planned out. Okay, so this is the Shabbat Wikipedia page, right? Shabbat Lubavitch, what we just heard in the video, right? So Shabbat, also known as Lubavitch, Shabbat Lubavitch, okay, Hasidic dynasty and global movement, okay? It is among the world's largest, most influential, and most publicly visible movements of Hasidic Judaism, known for its extensive network of institutions and active engagement with Jews of all affiliations worldwide. Okay, so let's go down here. Let's go down here. Okay, during the 20th century, Chabad Center shifted from Eastern Europe to the United States due to state-sanctioned anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union and the upheavals of World War II and the Holocaust. World War II. Holocaust. Trump was born in 1946. So I want you to understand the energetic connections going on here. Okay. Okay. So the movement, the center was shifted from Eastern Europe to the United States. Not Canada, not the UK, not from Eastern Europe, aka Russia, to the United States. Okay. Okay. So understand these things. So it is absolutely possible that people who are followers of Shabbat or whatever, yeah, a bunch of them in the United States, a bunch of them Heritage Foundation. It wouldn't shock me if we find people in the Heritage Foundation who are connected to this. Hey, Sarah, how you doing? It says, so glad I'm catching you live. Yes, girl. Yes, girl. We are just I hope you are interested in spiritual / esoteric / astrological conversations, because this is what this is, and you may have to rewatch it from the beginning because it gets deep real quick. Yeah, I'm so good, Sora. I'm so good. Y'all, this is one of my sorors that I one of my AKA sorors that I became friends with on Threads. Okay. I made sure I subbed to her channel to help get her to 1K subs. Okay, I'm here to help my sorors out. But yeah, so I want you all to understand that these are things that are happening. So like I said, it wouldn't shock me at all if we go looking through people who have ties or connections to the Heritage Foundation and we see people who are linked to this. It wouldn't shock me, because remember, the Shabbat Center went from Russia to the United States in World War II. Okay. Remember, for the most part, okay, so when someone is Black, when you have a Black person looks visually different from a white person. Okay. So you can tell, you know, pretty much right off the bat, the race of the person that you're looking at. So when we are talking about people of the Jewish faith, what does that look like? You don't really know. Okay. The rabbis, they have their traditional dress that they wear, for their faith. But as far as some regular person on the street, you probably wouldn't know that the person that you're behind, in the grocery store is probably following this or is a Zionist, right? You wouldn't know because it doesn't have a look. Yeah, you may go by name, but it's you don't know. You don't know. So I say this to say it wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me at all. And let me just do a quick search because I'm curious, and I might have to do a deeper search. I would probably have to do a deeper search, but oh, remember in the video? Do you all remember in the video? Do you all remember in the video? Let me share this tab instead. You all remember in the video that we just watched, the 15-minute video that we just watched, and how the content creator was saying that what was he saying? He was saying that I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, we can look at it here. We can look at it here. So Heritage Foundation. Y'all saw what I Googled. I Googled Heritage Foundation Shabbat. Jews have a home in the conservative movement. Okay. Oh, that's what I was saying. Remember when he played the video and he was just like, the rabbi was talking about from the book of Esther, what was talking about Esther in the Bible? Project Esther, a national strategy to combat anti-Semitism. Heritage Foundation. So we can see here that we already have the very, very loose tie to this whole energetic connection, Shabbat, Lubavitch, Heritage Foundation, conservative movements, people behind Donald Trump, all these things. And I'm not saying that to say that they weren't in other places of government as it pertains to other presidents. But show me the other president. Show me the president that was out here doing a whole ritual in public for the world to see. Okay, the bond servant. Show me the other president who did the public ear piercing Shabbat Lubavitch bond servant ritual from Exodus. Show me the other president that has done that. Show me the other president. And like I said, this was just a quick search. This was just a quick go search. Yeah, even the AI. Okay. Our heritage program, often associated with the Menachem Education Foundation. Okay. And I want y'all to make sure that you are understanding things, because you see that say Menachem. Let's go back here. Share this tab instead. Okay, during the 20th century, Shabbat censor shifted from Eastern Europe to the United States due to state-sanctioned anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. Under the leadership of its seventh rabbi, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. This is the same name. This is that man. Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Okay. Under his leadership, the movement underwent rapid expansion. But remember, went from Eastern Union to the United States during World War II. We go back here to this tab. Our heritage program, often associated with the Menachem Education Foundation. This is the same thing. So we can see our heritage foundation right here. So, and then Jews have a home in the conservative movement. So, like I said, all of this is connected, and do not let these people play in your faces, because they tell you not to look into astrology. They tell you not to do things, and all while they out here doing whole rituals. So many things are rituals out here in plain sight. We have the rituals going on. We have the esoteric and spiritual connections. Because like I said, remember back February 20, right when the Iran attack started. Right when that started. Remember, I told you all, it's no coincidence that they're doing this right before the Jewish holiday of Purim. I told you all then. Same thing with it's no coincidence that Charlie Kirk's memorial was done during a solar eclipse. The same Sunday of a solar eclipse. Okay, go play in somebody else's face. Go play in somebody else's face, because you can't play in mine. You cannot play in mine. Furthermore, don't forget that another thing that you probably didn't know was that so Donald Trump was born on the day of a lunar eclipse. I say again, Donald Trump was born on the same day as a lunar eclipse. Benjamin Netanyahu was also born around the time of an eclipse. These things are connected. These things are connected. Okay, I'm trying to think if I got this man's chart in here. I don't know if I got his chart. Let me see. Let me open. Let me see if I got that man's chart in here. I got everybody. Yep, I do have his chart. Okay, so Benjamin Netanyahu was born October 21st, 1949. Let me check the eclipses for that time. Yes, Benjamin Netanyahu was born on October 21st, 1949. There was a solar eclipse that day. On October 21st, 1949, there was a solar eclipse at 28 degrees. Let me see. 28 degrees of Libra. 28 degrees of Libra. So, like I said, don't let these people play in your face. It is okay to ask questions about, this seems a little fishy. It's okay to ask questions, because a lot of times there are layers and levels to it. But baby, it's what Nesto said. Nesto said it's a whole lot of AI going on. Baby, it's a whole lot of rituals going on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link very quickly and see if anyone has anything that they would like to say or talk about, or, just real quick. I'm going to drop the link. Yeah. So like I said, I heard this information yesterday. I was here at home working out, and I said, let me catch up on all my Twitter spaces because I'm nosy. So let me catch up on my Twitter spaces. And when I heard this yesterday, I said, my God, today. I said, my God, today, isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? Willing bondservant of Shabbat Lubavitch. Now, didn't we all hear? Now, didn't we hear about, and I don't know if you all have heard, but I have heard about some of them people stealing the deeds from people in New York? Didn't you hear about some of them? This is not an implication of the J people. This is not anti-Semitic. I'm just talking about news reports. News reports that some of them people are stealing the deeds of homeowners in New York. Okay. Now I said that to say that I think I saw something about yeah, right here. Okay, so the Shabbat movement, this is the history of the Shabbat movement. Now watch something here. The outbreak of World War II led the 6th rabbi to move to the United States. Since 1940, the movement's center has been in the Crown Heights neighborhood of Brooklyn. Now, I don't know about that neighborhood, but like I said, hearing that some of them people are out there deed stealing in New York. Anywho, oh, y'all didn't hear about that? Oh yeah. So like I said, I dropped the link. If no one comes up in a couple minutes, then I'm gonna end the stream. But yeah, what do you all think about this? What do you all think about this information that we have viewed together this evening? What do you all think about that? Because it is of Q's spiritual esoteric opinion that that the current sitting president of the United States of America is a willing bondservant. Allegedly. It is of my opinion that this is exactly what the Butler, Pennsylvania 2024 assassination attempt was. This is absolutely, I fully believe it now that I have seen this. I fully believe this. So when we're talking about, compromise and, because I have even seen a lot of MAGA, right? Because there is a difference, in my opinion, between Republicans and between MAGA. I think there are two different things. I've been seeing a lot of MAGA like, wait a minute, something is happening. Why is he being this weird? I can't believe this, right? All right, we have growing process here. Hey girl, how are you?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I want to make sure my audio is on before I say anything else. Hey, everybody. Well, this has been just completely crazy. And, like, everybody I talk to about this, like my neighbors and stuff like that, they've been looking at me like I'm losing my mind. I'm like, no, like, y'all don't understand. It's way
Right.
bigger than just politics and stuff like that. Like, it's way bigger than that. Like, I can feel it. It's weird. Everything feels off and very weird.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I fully agree with that. And remember how when I was going over some of the Epstein file stuff, and how, there was some file saying there was a file in which what's that man's name? Epstein was saying he was a representative of the Rothschilds, and there were the allegations of him being a Mossad agent. Mossad is a Israeli organization. It's Israeli, Secret Service.
Yeah.
and all of that. So when we're looking at things and we have all of these pieces that are spread out, we start looking at things and examining things. The picture that it's painting that's being put together is very, very interesting. And it's alarming. And I say alarming in the sense of, just as a citizen of the United States, knowing that there is a possibility, because I'm going to say allegedly, knowing that there's a possibility of the current sitting president being a servant to another country, that doesn't sit right with me, because that's not what the office of the presidency is supposed to do. Right?
Right. It's not supposed to be like that at all. And that, like, well, how do you not? I was like, because it's out in the open. Like he said it back his first term. Like he was
Yeah.
literally saying in his first term. Him and Putin was very close. He wasn't paying attention to that. Even though him and I can't even pronounce his man name. Kim Young I can't even say it. Name. I don't like
Yeah.
names.
Kim Jong-un.
I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, yeah. They were all like talking amongst each other, and people was not paying attention to that. And as soon as he got back in office, I'm like, man, shit's about to go to hell. Like, it's all about to go to hell. He's never been into politics ever, like ever. Now all of a sudden Trump's into politics. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like it never made any sense. This is a man who has multiple failed businesses, accused of terrifying, disgusting things. It's
Right.
just like, what are y'all thinking here in America? But then it also brought up the truth of what America tried to keep covered up for so long that we,
Right.
individuals here in America already knew. Now it's out for the world to see. We're like generally the laughing stock of the nations. We look like I I always go back. I look at anime a lot, so
Mhm.
I'll go back to this episode of it's called a Wano arc in One Piece. It's where it's this country that's very isolated off from the whole entire world, and they don't know what's going on until later on. But the leader came back and he was like, "No, we're keeping everything closed off." So they're still in somewhat ignorance, even though the government and stuff knows that this particular country is in shambles.
Yeah.
And that's what it all reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like if I could, like I explain it to my kids that way so they can understand how the world is set up right now. And
Yeah.
it's so disgusting. Like it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
Like
And that's
it's
why remember when I was going over, and I'm speaking to everyone that's here. Remember when I was telling you all that we're going to have a very interesting, 2026, 2027, 2028, when we have like these planetary changes and stuff like that. I don't know if you all remember from listening to the video where the rabbi said that this has to be complete by like October 2nd, 2027.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, we have some very interesting energy, some more of that chaotic potential war energy coming again. And so we have to see what's happening this July 2026, and then 2027, 2028, when we have that weird Mars Uranus conjunction, because the United States is going to be going through its Uranus return in Gemini, right? Donald Trump was born around World War II. Excuse me, Israel is a country that came about, after World War II. Remember I put that post on my YouTube wall
Yeah.
about the Rothschild, how the Rothschild, helped to create Israel. So all these things are energetically connected. All
Hey
these things are
Kev.
energetically connected. Hey Kevin, you're up here, Kevin. Just unmute yourself when you're ready.
Hey y'all, hey, how
Hey.
y'all doing?
Hey Kevin.
So I'm just gonna be honest. After just listening to everything, I'm not shocked in the slightest. To be perfectly honest, everything because I used to say in my mind, like I feel like I think I said about a couple years ago after the whole election thing. I said it on my channel. I said that I feel like we all got played. There was something about this election that made it kind of feel as if we've all been played to some degree. And like
Mm.
now, kind of like seeing how things have come together to try to reveal all these things from this esoteric, ritualistic point of view. There's nothing about it that shocks me at all. It really, what it sounds like to me, honestly, is that is a useful
Idiot.
chosen one narcissist to me to fit the part that they need to play.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing about it
That's what
is like
yeah.
Trump has said it himself. Like he's all you have to do is flatter him, and that's
said
what
it
happened when
several times.
yeah, that's what happened when Zoran Mamdani went to the White House
Several.
earlier this year. You just tell
Just
that man what he want to hear.
the
He gonna do
ugly
what he
ass
want.
mother. Sorry, let me mute my.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I'm talking about how Donald Trump fits the very concept of what narcissist was in that mythology, like
Mhm.
that's kind of like how they knew how to really cater to that. And I'm sure there's all this esoteric stuff that comes with it, all the alignment stuff. But in all honesty, like it wouldn't have to take much for him to be owned, because all you got to do is just give him what he wants and he'll go along with it very easy, just very easily, which is so unbecoming for somebody who already has this billionaire status. Like you would think he'd be satisfied, but no. At the end of the day, everything that you have shown with the X post from the Shabbat and everything lining up with scriptures and all this stuff leading up to all these different things, what it has done is answer a lot of questions. I always thought that things were so weird. Like now, like logically, now putting things in proper logic, because you know how logical I am, right? Like
Right.
logically, it makes a whole lot of sense to me now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was, me too, because I was just like, what is going on? Like, what the hell is going on? I mean, I knew that and listen, no president is perfect because no person is perfect. But this administration of his, this second term of his so far is it's energetically different from his first administration. And I was just like, but why? Like, yeah, we know what he's gonna do. We know there's gonna be allegedly insider training and stock market manipulation. And listen, I'm gonna be honest. I have been taking advantage of how these trends are. When he's announcing things about war, we sell, we buy, we sell, we buy. Making some money or whatever like that. But
Get your coin,
yeah,
Get your
what'd you say? Get my
coin.
coin?
Get your
Yes,
coin.
yes. We are getting our coins. Okay. But I say that to say that, like, wow, it is very, very different. Very, very different energetically. And I think we have our answer as to why this second term is energetically different from the first term.
Yeah, it seems way darker. It seems way darker.
Yeah, it is. It's, and listen, I'm not one for war in the sense of war is very, very ugly. But I do understand a country defending itself if it's attacked first, right? I would have been okay with what's going on as far as it is, in relation to Iran, if Iran, whatever, there was a bombing or something in one of the US cities and we knew for sure it was, I would have been like, okay, I understand that, you have to take up arms. But just bombing those people when they didn't do anything to us on the behalf of allegedly Israel, I have a problem with that,
Yeah, to
because
me.
that's not
Yeah,
right.
to me that was
Killing innocent
crazy.
people, I don't vibe with that. I am one for, if you start it, I'm gonna finish it. So we can't be mad at Iran for saying, like, listen, we gotta you I'm not just gonna sit there and let someone beat my ass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna fight back. So I say that to say that yeah, all of this is, and I'm just like, I know they did that for, I know it was done for them people. I know it was done for that country, because historically, they have been trying to get US presidents to bomb Iran for a long time. Okay, Obama wouldn't do it. Now during the Obama presidency, there was some other fuck shit going on, bombing other countries and doing wrong and stuff. But as it relates to them people and bombing Iran, Obama said he wasn't going to do it. He said he wasn't going to do it. Like I said, every president got some fucked up shit that was happening when they were president. But just bombing people to bomb people, yeah, I'm not cool with that. I'm not good with that. It has to be what I tell you all, justified retribution, not because you are taking up arms for another country that won't even send its own people over there to fight. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I don't agree with that. You know, them little
Right.
girls that got killed and stuff like that. We did that. That's not right. That's not right. You know, so yeah, all those babies at that school, yes, yes. Yeah. But yeah, the growing process, or Kevin, did you have anything else that you want to add? Sorry, I went off on a little tangent real quick, but I appreciate you all sharing your opinions and your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, 'cause it's just crazy. Like I was telling my daughter, because I have like a 16-year-old, and I was telling her, I was like, make sure you walk around, get your little spray bottle of protection, your little Florida water. You know, they can't draft you because you're the only daughter. So
Yeah, it's just crazy all the things that
yeah, like, and I got one son, and he's the baby. And I'm like, well, you gonna hear him in a minute. I'm gonna try to mute myself before I drop down, but like it just be all type of crazy shit. It's
yeah.
just like Trump is crazy. He needs to be on medication or put in the room, padded with with a restraint, with a muzzle on his mouth, and I don't even want JD Vance to even take over. Like it is
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
crazy.
And I
Like
have to look at that energy myself because I'm going to do a review of Vance's chart because I find it interesting that now we're hearing more and more talk, at least in some of the spaces that I'm in, that, you know, allegedly or possibly they may want to try to move Vance in, and then Vance is a product of Peter Thiel and all of that weirdness, you know. So I'm gonna do a chart on him as far as his oh, Kevin, you're back in. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do a chart on him because we need to look at his energies too. It's very weird. But yeah. Oh, Kevin, that one doesn't sound too good. Let me remove this one and add the other one back in, Kevin. Let me.
I'm gonna drop down while y'all do that, okay? I just
Okay.
had to speak my piece. I gotta get my kids ready for bed. They got school tomorrow.
Okay, girl.
I
All
love
right.
y'all. I'll be in
All
the
right.
clouds.
All right, girl. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, you're good. You're good. Let me see. I'll mute. They chose to mute themselves. Let me see. We gonna get one of the Kevins back in. We gonna get one of the Kevins back in. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna remove you from the studio and then you come back in, Kevin. Okay, let me remove Kevin. Okay, yeah, Kevin come back in because your audio was there was a little bit of a sound issue. But yeah, all this is wild. And bottom line is too long didn't read is it is of Q's opinion that that man has really turned himself into a bond servant for Israel. That's my opinion. So that's my opinion. So I'm gonna wait and see if Kevin comes back. Yeah, that's my opinion. And that's my opinion. And listen, here, you know, here on my channel, I will bring you all the information. You know, I love to share with you all the esoteric things that I find, you know, when I'm doing these readings or doing my investigations and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I'm just here to share the information with you all. You all can choose to do with this information what you please, but you know, that's my opinion that is what happened. It's my opinion that is what happened, and that this is a willing, faithful bond servant, allegedly. So, yeah. Let me You know. Yeah, this was it right here. Willing bondservant of Shabbat Lubavitch. Mm-hmm. Willing servant of Shabbat Lubavitch. That was the 2024 Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt was a bond servant ritual. So it's all good, Kevin. No worry, Kevins. No worry, Kevin. You shared your thoughts with us, and I'm appreciative of you all sharing your thoughts with me. So, all right, my darlings, I am going to let me see. What's today? Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. I may or may not come back tomorrow. But yeah, share this information, share this video with someone who you think may need to hear this. Okay, let me see. We got Kevin back. Yeah, hey Kevin. Yeah, make sure y'all share this with someone that you think may need to hear this because times are strange. Times are strange. And the fact that this is lining up with things astrologically, all of this, listen, it's this too much. This too much. But you know. Hey Kevin, you're in. If you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm finally back. Finally back. I probably sound a bit better now, right?
Yes, yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say really quickly, and I hope I do it before I lose my chain of thought. A lot of what we are seeing right now is something that Growing Process was saying earlier. I think a lot of it is trying to kind of like set us up for two things. Number one, I think it's trying to set us up for Project 2030. And I think the second thing is that it is trying to fulfill that whole 250 years of the whole empire thing, the 250 years and stuff, and now going into that decline. I think this right here is that mark of the decline. Now, given what you were saying about the energetics of the chart with the United States, I do think that one way or another, we would have been able to see kind of like a decline in that, however that may have turned about. But this one right here of how with like Trump selling himself out to, the Yarmulke people. I think that this one right here is something that is almost kind of like having somebody like Trump is like the perfect setup for what Project 2030 could end up becoming within the United States.
Yes. No, I agree. I agree. And that's what I'm saying. Like, asking the question earlier, I bet that there were some people who align with this spiritual point of view who were tied to Project 2025 and 2030, and we saw that very loose connection when I did the Google search. So the real quick Google search. So it wouldn't shock me at all, and this is why I say that astrology and these other things are tools. In the same way that I have my astrology software and I can look forward into the future, I think I could look all the way up until like I think my software goes to like 2100 or something like that, and goes as far back as something BCE. Like you can see all of these planetary movements and alignments and stuff like that. So when we have people who are, it's not necessarily people who are popular, but people who have influence and who are aligned with power, it's not hard to just do a quick lookup of their natal chart and just see if this person would particularly be good for things, because I'm pretty sure he's not the only one that, is born with, those same similar energies. But the thing about it is he is easy to manipulate. Because he's easy to manipulate, he is the perfect candidate, the perfect target, because all you have to do is promise him, praise and, things like that.
Mhm.
and he'll do it. Like he's easy to manipulate. He's easy to
Yeah.
manipulate. All you gotta do is stroke his ego, and you got him, right? So it's
Yeah,
not
and then
hard.
that leads to the idea of like how these
Yeah,
leaders are selected, and you think you're letting these people. That goes into the idea of like again how these people, these powers that be, they select your leaders for you because
mhm,
they have plans in place for what it is that they are attempting to do that have nothing to do with whatever
mm.
you quote unquote little people will do. That like stuff like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 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 So yeah, like I think that a lot of it is yeah, and let me just share this tab so everyone can look real quick because I just did a quick Google of Project 2030. And United Nations transforming our world. When we talk about things like the United Nations and the League of Nations and all these hidden things and these hidden moving pieces and Bilderberg and this, that, and the other like that. Like these people are for real, you know, um, selected. Even
Mm-hmm.
when you're looking at the what is that? The thing in California that they talk about all the time in the forest. I did content on it and I can't think of it right now. But when they go out into the forest or whatever, y'all, what am I talking about? I can't think of what it is. But anyway, a lot of those people, the names on those lists of people who went out there, the ritual in the forest with the owl and all like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, hey babe. Um, when we're talking about things like that, these are people who ended up as titans of industry,
Mm-hmm.
presidents, things like, oh, thank you, baby. These are people who ended up as titans of industry, people in positions of power that have the ability to make changes and make decisions um, on all of our behalf, right? So, yeah, you know,
Definitely, definitely.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I have
yeah.
one last thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hugh, I love your
Bohemian
content.
Grove.
I think
Bohemian
I think
Grove.
your
That's what I
content
meant
is
it
amazing.
was.
And I really do think that what you have here is something that is very unique. I don't know if there's people who are like really doing it in the way that you are, where you are actually connecting astrology and esoterics to geopolitics and how they affect not only the world but specifically here in the United States.
Yes.
And I would highly advise, because I like being politically messy and knowing about these types of things. I would I would highly advise people to like really pay attention because this is the deep what we're getting here is the details behind the stuff that is going on within our politics and what we are finding ourselves moving into each day. There's a story behind what we're getting behind the astrology and esoterics and the energy and stuff that they're not going to tell you up front. And what they want to be able to do is to try to manipulate the people by trying to have us in all these different divisive groups, all these tribalistic types of stuff to really get us to be distracted from us really getting the point of where we need to be, on point and on cue. And so anything that's involving particular, like, Project 2030 or anything that's setting things up for the future, like with what we have here, this allows us to have a whole lot of foresight, not just knowledge for the past and the history, but also have foresight for the future. And I highly advise that you really take this time to take in the information that you get here on this platform and really use it to your advantage. I know that we have a great time and we like that, like to have like these moments of just kind of like gossiping through this, but this is actually very serious stuff. And I hope that everybody, as they take the time to listen to this, are really making use of what is here. So I just want to say thank you for that, Q.
And thank you so much for those kind words, Kevin. And let me just say that going back to what I said about these astrological changes, major changes and whatnot, these are major changes for everyone and they will impact everyone differently. But part of the changes for me is um using my knowledge and these talents that I have to step away from the bread and circuses, like we talked about, step away from the bread and circuses and really focus in on information that is beneficial to us here in the United States, so that we can truly understand what's going on. Like I just have a spiritual push right now to, I need to inform the community of things that are going on. Um, and hopefully people, find this information and hear it, because I need to, and listen, just like you said, we can gossip, we can kiki, we can have a good time and all like that, but there are things going on, and there are changes going on, and there are people in positions of power, um create companies, and we have all this technology and all this other different stuff, and they give us the bread and circuses to keep our minds on stupid shit. And I say that as respectfully as possible, to keep our minds on stupid shit while there are real things happening that affect us. And I personally, my internal compass isn't toward that. My internal compass right now is, hey, I found this out. Let me share this. So at least people will know, right? At least people will know, okay, these are the changes. This is what's happening. These are the esoteric, energetic, spiritual, ritual connections, so people can know. Because there's no point in me doing what I do just to play around, if that makes sense. Because these are things that affect all of us, right? These are things that affect all of us, even though it's happening, quote unquote, over there. And it was a conversation that Mr. Hoodoo and I had, I think it was like last week. We had the conversation about, it just makes us so sad that there are people who aren't paying attention, because the war is physically happening over there. But the things that physically happen over there, with the extent, like how wide range and globalism is, how we are all interconnected, it is continuing to affect us. Gas prices, anyone. Energy prices, groceries. These people
Fertilizer.
Yeah, fertilizer. Like, listen, how many years I've been saying, people, make sure you have the resources that you need, because I've been saying it for at least the past 2 to 3 years, like on this platform. Make sure you have the resources that you need. Every time people come to me for a tarot reading or whatnot, and they be asking about some love life, I'm like, listen, Spirit told me to tell you to get your shit in order. Okay. Love life is good. Okay. I'm married, been married for a long time, 16 years. But do you have what you need? Okay. Because rolling around on the mattress is not going to get you what you need to survive.
Exactly. And even flight prices, even how many cancellations or delays that we've been hearing about, because the fuel for the flights.
Yeah. The fertilizer, crops, the stuff in the grocery store. I mean, all of these, grocery store, listen, I'm not going to go into a whole tirade, but these things affect us. So all of this, I'm not going to pay attention to what they got to do with me. It has everything to do with you.
Everything.
And that's why in that tarot reading, what was it, last month or the month before, when we talked about the war and stuff, what does Spirit say? You have to get in community with people who are on the same wavelength as you, and people who could potentially help you, so you can help each other. That was part of that message. And this is where we are now. This is where we are now. So, I don't know how long this is going to last, but a lot of this is unfortunately just getting started. Right now, energetically, 2026 for right now is very, very much aligned to, what was it, 1979, 1976, with that oil crisis, which affects everything. They make plastic from oil, from petroleum. So your plastic bags, your plastic bins that you need to put clothes in, so many things come in plastic. Your Tupperware, this is affecting car parts. This is, so many different things. The energy crisis going on or starting to happen in Europe, where they're trying to figure things out. And it's just like, I need for more people to pay attention. So this is what my platform is for right now. This is where Spirit is leading me. I need to give y'all the information so y'all can truly see what's going on. And,
And even
So
if things get better, there are going to be consequences. There is
yeah,
going to be an aftermath that comes from this, regardless of how long it takes for this
yeah,
stuff to be resolved.
right.
So that
We
so
are,
in as
yeah.
much as we're thinking about things happening now, we have to also be prepared for whatever aftermath occurs, especially with things involving economics and even with politics.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So many things are happening at once. And we need to make sure that we need to make sure that we are paying attention. We need to make sure we're paying attention. So many things are happening all at once. And like I said, I remember in that reading a couple months ago, you asked about how long is it going to take for the United States to recover. Well, number one, the empire is over. So
Mhm.
that the whole
It's a wrap.
250 years, the United States is over. It's done. I'm not saying it's going to end tomorrow, but the quote unquote global standing that we had is no more. Okay, it's no more. So that's number one. Number two, they won't say that we're in a recession, but everyone knows that we're in a recession.
Mhm.
All of these people getting laid off, if they are all out here fighting for the same two jobs, somebody ain't gonna have no job. So how are they
Mhm.
going to, if you don't have significant savings, how are you going to take care of yourself and your family day to day? So they won't say the R word, but we're in a recession. We're in a recession,
We may
and
even be setting ourselves for a depression. They don't
oh
really want
no,
to say that either.
we're going into that too, because some of this
Mhm.
energy is also tied. Some of this energy is also tied to um 2008 financial crash and the stock market crash of what was it 1929 1928.
Mhm.
So we're having these repetitions in energy in which shit was going downhill for the United States. So like I said, I say all that to say we really need to pay attention, get your ducks together, take care of yourselves, have the resources, do whatever it is you need to do to get the resources that you need that isn't harming other people or being a criminal. And that's really all I can say at this point because shit is getting real out here. Mhm. Yeah.
And it's gonna make for some very angry people, like Gen Z. I don't know if you know Q. There is a study. I forget the video that I watched, but there are already people when it comes to like nursing elderly, right? There's a lot of people that are just saying that they're up and quitting with nursing like their elderly family because they're not doing unpaid labor. There's a lot of angry younger generation, I would say millennials, Gen Z, maybe even younger Gen X. There are a lot of angry people right now,
Yeah.
due to what is happening, and they're blaming a lot of it on baby boomers and maybe even like the silent generation, but largely baby boomers and things like that. Um, there is a lot of anger that is happening right now, and probably going to end up spilling over into latter parts of the years ahead. So
Yes.
you have to be prepared for that as well. And like when it comes to young people, particularly like younger generation like Gen Z. Mind you, Gen Z, like in the education sector, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, that have already been shown that they are not they're not as literate.
No,
They are
no.
not getting the developmental hits that they should be. Like I have a question even like millennials, like if we really got those things as well, because like a lot of millennials not really doing the parenting as they should. But um, we are dealing with a generation of people that they are going to be very prone to more likely prone to violence and anger because of things not happening as it should for someone who was supposed to be hitting certain milestones. So you need to
Yeah.
be prepared for that as well. No, I
Yeah.
mean not to sound all doom and gloom and stuff. Like no,
No,
there's
no,
none
no, no,
of that.
no.
But
Listen.
that is a reality. That is the thing that we are
Right.
watching. We are watching the younger generation saying,
Yeah.
having not only just no, but we're just kind of like turning things on its head. And
Yeah.
with millennials and Gen Z leading the way in that. I
Yeah.
would say like the younger half millennials and Gen Z and stuff like that. And probably even just older millennials in general. So keep that in
Yeah.
mind as you are making your preparation stuff because things are going to take a drastic
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I was just watching a video yesterday in which some students they had to have been at least like 13 and they were asked to read a sentence and they couldn't read the sentence. So they were
Mhm.
either like in like 8th grade or like at some point in high school, they were asked to read a sentence, and so many of them couldn't read this simple sentence. And there are, so many things that are true at once. All of the fallout from so many people losing their jobs, right? And not able to find a job, to the ghost jobs, to the going back to some of these Pluto and Leo people, okay, the people from like the silent generation up going into the boomers, no child left behind, all of these things, all of these chickens are coming home to roost at the same time. And it's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. All of these things are happening at the same time. And I think Sexy RN just said it right here in the chat. She said, because even nurses, especially new grads, are having a hard time getting hired. That is unheard of. And they're in the medical field, right? So,
Yeah.
I say that to say, you see the writing on the wall. Okay, we see the writing on the wall. It's been there for a while. And we have to make sure that we are preparing ourselves to take care of ourselves, understanding that because the country is being held on financially by this AI bubble, right? We don't know when that's going to pop. It could be next year. It could be in 6 months. It could be in a couple years. That it's going to pop the same way that the housing market popped. It's going to pop. What goes up must come down. So, everybody make sure y'all doing what y'all got to do. We saw the writing on the wall. I want to say late last year, and we have a deep freezer. We have one that's tall like a refrigerator. It's in storage. But we weren't going to go through storage and try and dig that out. We bought a smaller deep freezer so we can make sure that we have food like in our freezer, because we just knew like, okay, these prices are going to go up. You see the cost of beef. You see it's expensive. It's expensive, especially living here in California. So everybody touch your neighbor.
For the rise of quick money too, like people trying to flood in and trying to get into like content creation, just trying to get some extra money, trying to get into a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's out there, and as much as I love some of the younger generation, because they're out here like, we're not out here about to just work for slave wages, and they're out here rebelling. At the same time, they can't read. If they can't read, they are illiterate. They don't understand what is going on.
Exactly. Which means that's probably gonna be like, with the AI stuff, AI is probably, for a lot of them, that's gonna be the thing that they go to just to try to get an understanding of anything, because they can't really do like certain basic stuff that should be expected of them by the time they reach adult age.
Yes, they can't read. They don't know how to search on the internet. They will type something in to the search bar and press search, and then won't look past page 1. Like, this is a problem. And yeah, Starry-Eyed said it, that this is the first generation that has not cognitively progressed. They have regressed. This isn't just COVID. This is not, we're not gonna blame them few years ago. We're not gonna blame COVID for that. These are serious issues that have been baking in this country for probably about 20 years. And an illiterate society can be easily fooled and
manipulated,
led. Right. So it is hard being someone that can read, write, and comprehend and infer, and it's hard being one of these people when there are so many people around that are they're illiterate. They're illiterate. They can't reason. They don't have deductive reasoning. They don't comprehend. They won't even go look up a word to make sure they're using it correctly before they put it in a sentence. It's just so much that's going on. I'm just like, this is scary. This is scary. And these are going to be the people who are, as we age and get older, these are going to be the people coming behind us running things, baby. Everybody
running things and have to take care of us when we get old.
Right.
That's the thing to think about too.
Take your vitamins, drink your water, do your exercises. Right. Because baby, we gonna be in danger. We in danger. We in danger. Okay. You know, so it's a lot going on out here at once. But just know that I will bring you all the information, and once I make these connections and see what's going on, or I see what the astrology is saying or whatever like that, I'm gonna bring y'all the information because I'd rather you all know.
Let me go
so
ahead
you
and
can-
get myself out.
Okay, Kevin. No worries, Kevin. I appreciate you being here. Kevin. Yeah, y'all. So, you know, it's always something going on, but it's just really, really yeah, it's a lot going on. So, but anywho, I love you all so very much. I love you all so very much, and thank you all for being here with me. Share this video with someone that may need to see this, or if they are, you know, asking questions about this, share this. Share this with them, because if you know, they need to know. Now, what they do with the information is up to them. But we are out here telling the spiritual, energetic, and esoteric truth about things out here. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. We've been here for 2 hours. I love you all very, very much. I will see you all in the next video, and I'm glad that you all were here with me. Okay, we are a small coterie family over here, but we are small and mighty. Because one thing I'm not going to do to you is lie to you. I will not lie to you. And I don't do anything for clicks and for views. I do things to give you all the information so you all know what's going on out here, and you can see what the hell is going on out here, and you know the energetics behind what's being done. Before we get out of here, the Magic Level 1 class is on May 24th at 1 o'clock p.m. California time. It's a 4-hour class. I'm going to teach you all the basics, so you all will be able to do simple but effective spiritual, ritual, spell work, magic spells, whatever you want to call them. Okay, I'm going to be going on over a lot of stuff. Altars, ancestor altars, spiritual cleansing, spiritual protection, blockbuster work, road opener work, the differences between the two, colors, correspondences, candle basics, magical timing, like so many different things I'm going to go over in this class. It's going to be 4 hours. Please have your spiritual notebook ready, okay, with pen, because you're going to use your spiritual notebook. We're going to get into it for 4 hours. Okay, and like I said, by the end of that, you will be able to do some basic, simple but effective spiritual work, because I will be teaching you and you will know what to do. Okay, just basic level 1. After magic level 1, maybe sometime in June, I might do magic level 2, where we start to get further into more intermediate and more intricate things, going into more intricate things when it comes to magic, right? Teaching you all from things that I have learned, that I had to learn on my own, things that I know that work. Okay. So the class Magic Level 1, it is $50. If you need to pay me $10 every week until you get up to the 50, that's fine. If you want to PayPal me for the class, that's fine. If you want to Cash App me to attend the class, it's fine. And I will, I will send you all the link for the class at the time of the class. Okay. That is about it. So I'm going to get out of here. I love y'all very, very much. I got to do some more digging into some of these things. But like I said, understand it's a whole lot going on out here. So, yeah, yep. I saw you signed up. Earlier today. I saw you, Ultraviolet. I saw you sign up earlier today. Yeah, we tell the truth over here. I'm telling you all the truth over here. I got a new tarot deck that I really want to think about using. I also have I bought some dowsing rods. I want to try my hand with the dowsing rods. So we'll see how that goes. I got to practice here. I got to practice. This is a spiritual life. You have to do the spiritual things every day. Every day. So I love y'all. I may or may not come back tomorrow, depending on what I have going on here. But yeah, we yeah, we're gonna get into some things. So I love y'all very, very much. I'm gonna see y'all in these YouTube streets. Be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And I'm out.